The Owen James Report is brought to you by
NCB Capital Markets, serious about wealth. Precision. It's the difference between average returns or excellent. Control separates the great from the ordinary. Balance. It's what leaves you on your feet instead of on your face. Strategy. The flexibility to respond when the time is right. Making the right moves at the right time. That's what drives success. NCB Capital Markets, serious about wealth.
Good evening. This is the Owen James Report. The head of the Financial Investigations Division, Justin Felice, has a practical vision of reinforcing the maxim that crime does not pay. Felice, whose job is essentially to implement the Proceeds of Crimes Act, envisages an asset recovery incentive scheme with partners such as the FID, the police, the FSC, customs and the tax authorities.
What I'm proposing, 50% of that would go back to the enforcement arm, and the government can take the other 50%. But of that 50%, 30% could go back into making safer communities. For example, the recent horrific crime in St. James, the rapes that took place. Some of the money that we take back from these criminals, we could open up a rape crisis centre. Put something back into the communities to say, crime does not pay.
Felice, who was one of the main speakers at last night's FSC Forum on Financial Scams, Fraud and Money Laundering, also suggested plugging any money laundering loopholes which may exist among professionals such as lawyers, real estate agents and businesses such as hardware stores, among others. Don't miss our comprehensive report on fraud and money laundering within On a Personal Note at 3 p.m. this Sunday on CVM, your station for information. In company news, in what's clearly a sign of the challenging economic times, the highly diversified Grace Kennedy Group is reporting a 6.4% decline in 9-month profit to September 30 this year. Net profit amounted to $1.79 billion or $124 million below profits for the corresponding period last year. Now, revenues grew by over 5% to $46.1 billion during the period. Grace Kennedy's CEO, Don Webby, says rising electricity and transportation costs ate into the profits of GK Foods, which recorded fair growth within the period. Now, while disclosing that the financial group experienced growth in revenues and pre-tax profits within the period, Webby described the results as mixed. The Grace Kennedy Group is clearly banking on the international business in these challenging times, expanding its distribution centers in North America, particularly the West Coast, as well as fully acquiring GK Belize for the purpose of growing the business into Central and South America. Amid continued high broker demand and limited supplies of foreign exchange, the Jamaican dollar weakened against the three regularly traded foreign currencies today. In other words, the US and the Canadian dollars, as well as the British pound, strengthened against the Jamaican dollar. The greenback gained 3 Jamaican cents to close at an average selling rate of $91.21, whilst the Canadian dollar jumped by 29 Jamaican cents to close at $91.54. The British pound advanced by 23 Jamaican cents to close at $146.45. Now, the banks and other licensed financial institutions sold $25.7 million or 23% more than what they bought today. And that's the Owen James Report. Good evening.
The Owen James Report was brought to you by
NCB Capital Markets, serious about wealth.